We talk about problems people face in their day-to-day lives. Let's start with a video. I'm a 21-year-old woman, and right now I'm pursuing computer science in college. I still have a year left, and our system of paying tuition is yearly around the month of October. Fees are accepted only within the given period, and if not paid on time, no fee waiver is considered. If it gets ignored, my hard work for a fee waiver will go to waste. Sounds absurd, but so does the whole college and education system. Please keep in mind how important this whole thing is to me. I'm very focused on my career, so much so that I've sacrificed my whole social circle for this degree. Y'all can judge me by calling me a nerd, but I don't care. I'm proud of my nerdiness. Now, as you can see from the title, this incident is not a one-time thing but a problem I've been facing all my life. It's due to the selfishness and entitlement of both my parents and my brother. This has been happening since day one, the day I was born, basically. My father runs my grandparents' business. He owns a textile export and import company that my grandfather spent his entire life building. My grandfather was rewarded financially for his efforts, and the business flourished. My grandparents have only one son, my father, so it's natural for him to inherit the whole business. My mom, also an only child, comes from a well-to-do family, though not as wealthy as my grandfather's. She has always felt like things were insufficient for her, and often compared herself mentally to my grandmother. My father doesn't officially own the business yet because of my grandmother's and mother's poor relationship. They just don't trust my mother. Naturally, both my parents, being single children themselves, wanted a single child too, my brother, who is my twin. I was unplanned and was going to be given up for adoption, but my grandmother promised to take care of me. Since I was 2 years old, my grandparents have raised me. They are the closest family I have, and they're the only ones who've shown me real warmth. I've always been the unwanted child. According to my mom, a second child brings trouble and doesn't let the first one grow to their full potential. Of course, having a male heir sounds better to them than having a daughter. Today, my brother and I turned 21. My brother and I never shared a good relationship. He never stood up for me or confronted our parents about how they treated me. In fact, he had his fair share of fun bullying me and making my life difficult. Even though we are the same age, the only difference is that I am working hard toward a meaningful future, while he is a high school dropout who plays the rich playboy, dating middle school girls. Despite this, he is always preferred over me. I'd be lying if I said I didn't want my parents to be proud of me or notice me a bit. But at this point, I've accepted that it's not happening. It's even hard to dream about such a thing anymore. Back to today's birthday scenario. For me, it's a normal day filled with work on projects and internships, plus the extra task of paying my fees. Today also happens to be the last day for payment. For my brother, however, it's a day of celebrating his existence with strippers and alcohol at our private farmhouse, along with my parents, of course. Of all days, today was the day I chose to be careless and forgot some really important papers I needed. I kept calling everyone's phones, begging them to bring me the papers, because I only had an hour before the college account section closed. I dialed everyone, even every landline at the farmhouse, but got no response. The disappointment, hurt, and anger I felt were stronger than when Beyoncé found out about her husband's affair. As a last resort, I called my grandparents. After hearing what happened, they immediately sent someone to collect the papers. By some blessing, my efforts weren't in vain. All the anger inside me turned to pain after meeting my grandparents back at their house. I had the worst mental breakdown of my life right there. I could see their hearts breaking into pieces, and then that pain turning into anger. After I finished ranting about the mistreatment and the party being thrown while my life was about to be ruined, my grandpa was silent for 5 long minutes, the longest 5 minutes of my life. After the dramatic pause, my grandpa pulled out a paper, tore it into shreds, and called his lawyer. In what I'm not sure was an impulsive decision, he removed my brother from his inheritance. Instead, he decided to give my brother's share to my future children, and if I have none, it will go to charity. I kind of feel guilty for stealing my brother's fortune from him, but the villainous part of me is enjoying every bit of it. There's a party being thrown in the evening where he was supposed to present the will to both of us, and I know all of them are going to freak out. It's probably the last time I'll ever see my mother smiling. I may sound evil, but she kind of deserves to lose that smug expression she gets whenever someone mentions her son. Part of me feels guilty, and part of me feels avenged and happy. More importantly, I feel weirdly at peace. I'll keep you all updated on what happens after the party. For now, I can assure you that it's going to be a roller coaster of emotions, with me getting the last laugh. Party update: it actually turned out even better than I imagined. Look, the main point here isn't the money but the way I've been treated, just because I was born as the extra child. We all got ready and dressed up. I made myself look pretty because it was my birthday after all, and I deserved to have some fun too. My brother was really drunk during the whole party, which just added extra fuel to the fire. We cut cakes and had some fun. Grandpa introduced me to a lot of people and made sure to tell them how proud he was of me, how I was much more than just an extra child, and how amazing my achievements are. I may sound haughty about it, but honestly I don't care. I know where to draw the line. When the party wound down and only close relatives were left, Grandpa gave a speech about his legacy and family life, which was very impressive. He said nice things about everyone in the family, until the moment of truth. Then, he turned his attention to my parents and brother. I shouldn't have enjoyed it so much, but it was actually funny. Grandpa said he was proud of having a toxic daughter-in-law and a son with no identity of his own who, together, raised a perfect son who had overachieved in the art of being a good-for-nothing alcoholic dropout. It was soul satisfying. I loved how my mother's head hung in shame as she walked what I'd call the walk of shame. The cherry on top was when Grandpa announced that I'd get the entire fortune. My parents were visibly furious, and this sparked a heated argument. However, they were simply handed an envelope with enough money to send their perfect child to a rehab center. That's all for today. I'll keep you updated. Final update: oh my God. It's been a really long time since my birthday. I'm now 21 years and 8 months old, and every day feels like a new beginning. I'm really grateful for the support I've received from the Reddit community. All the wishes, comments, suggestions, and even the trolls aimed at my parents and brother. They've been amazing to read. Sorry for not updating sooner, but I live a busy life now and have managed to build a good team to start a business of my own. Back to the update. My grandparents recently turned the party farmhouse into a vegetable and orange field, where they spend a lot of time together. They occasionally invite me over for snacks and tea. It's peaceful now. My parents tried to manipulate me into signing everything over to my brother. However, with my grandparents' support, I've cut off contact with them. When my father retires, my cousin, along with a promising partner, will take over the business and keep Grandpa's legacy alive. Everything is going well. I've also started socializing more and have built healthy friendships. These friends help me through hard times and celebrate the good times with me. As for my brother, he's out of rehab and trying to mend our relationship, but I'm not letting that happen anytime soon. Adding to his list of disappointments, his 17-year-old girlfriend is now pregnant. She isn't a saint, but my heart goes out to her. She's really the victim here. However, it's not my concern, and I'm staying far away from the mess they continue to create. This will be my last update, marking the end of this chapter in my life. Thank you all for your support. See you soon, and I hope you stay well and healthy. Commentary. I'm glad your grandparents took a stand for you and helped you out. Make sure you take good care of them. Your brother honestly gives off good-for-nothing villain vibes. Anyway, I'm happy everything turned out well for you. Don't listen to your parents. They're toxic, and it's completely okay to be proud of your goals. Next story: I'm a 28-year-old woman, and I've been dating my boyfriend, 29, for a little over 2.5 years. When we began to get serious, I told him I didn't want to have kids and wasn't interested in that. It wouldn't be fair to string him along. When things got serious, he told me he wanted kids. However, we talked it over and he decided he could live without them. Things were fine until we were visiting my family a few days ago for my dad's birthday. He saw some old pictures of me when I was 20, clearly heavily pregnant. He got upset and asked me what this was about. He thought I'd had a child and given them up. I explained to him that my oldest sister and her husband had been struggling with fertility and that she'd had several miscarriages. So, I offered to carry their child for them, and my 7-year-old niece was the result. I, in no way, feel maternal toward her. She is their biological child, and I've never felt I was anything but the handy oven for that bun. I never brought it up because I didn't think it mattered, and it was so long ago that it wasn't really anyone else's business. He, however, feels differently. When we left, He told me I should have told him and said it wasn't fair that I'd been willing to give my sister a child but wouldn't even consider having one with him. I got upset as there's a big difference between carrying a child and raising a child, and I told him as much. I also told him I was sorry for not telling him. I honestly hadn't felt it was his business since it happened years before we got together. I reminded him that he was the one who had said he could live without children after I warned him long ago. He's still upset with me. I honestly don't think I did anything wrong here.
Understand,
Frida? Since people keep asking, I'm including this information in the post. Yes, it's preferred that surrogates be over 21 and have had at least one child. However, in our country, doctors assess on a case-by-case basis and sometimes allow surrogacy for those over 18, even if they haven't had a child before. We were one of those cases, though they tried to discourage it. My sister didn't want to use a stranger because in our country, the person who carries the child has all the legal rights. If they decide to keep the child, my sister and her husband could do nothing about it. I was someone she trusted. Comments and opinions is here's why. You and your boyfriend discussed children, so you had to assume he would see those pictures eventually if the relationship lasted. Your pregnancy should have been mentioned. He overreacted, which is understandable, but his reasoning, that you had a baby for them so you should have one for him too, is problematic. Both of you made the mistake of thinking he could be okay without kids when, deep down, he wanted them. He's not okay with it. If you don't have kids, he will resent you. If you choose to have kids for him, you will resent him and possibly the kids. Think this through carefully. NTA. Were you a gestational surrogate? If so, does he understand that your niece is not your biological child? That possible confusion might explain why he reacted so strongly, unless he legitimately thought the only reason you didn't want kids was because you didn't want to deal with pregnancy. As someone who doesn't want kids myself, I'd find carrying and making one for someone else harder to handle than being a gestational surrogate. If you were a traditional surrogate, I can slightly understand his confusion or frustration, but you're still not in the wrong. You were upfront about your plans for the future. It's not your job to ensure he knows every detail of your past. Next story. I have been dating my girlfriend for 8 months. Things have been going well, and when she started a project in my part of the city, she decided to stay at my place temporarily rather than commute daily. I noticed that when she showers, she uses such hot water that steam billows from the bathroom when she opens the door, leaving everything wet. I told her to use the dehumidifier in the bathroom while she showers. She said she showers with the window open and turns it on afterward because the air was too humid for the dehumidifier to work properly. I put my foot down and told her it wasn't optional. She ended up breaking the dehumidifier with the steam. I told her that enough was enough. If there's no dehumidifier, she would need to shower at a normal temperature like everyone else. Her skin was red when she came out of the bathroom. Instead, she started locking herself in the bathroom to let the steam dissipate, so I wouldn't catch her turning my bathroom into a sauna. Last week I'd had enough of this. I removed the lock from the bathroom door. To clarify, the toilet is in a separate room, so there is still complete privacy for that. Now, I knock before entering to ensure it's not too steamy and that the water temperature is reasonable. She hasn't said anything about it, but her mood with me has been low. She started spending weekends at her place and slowly taking her belongings with her. I told her I didn't do this to be nasty, but the hot showers were damaging my bathroom, and probably her health too. She just says, okay, and claims it's fine. Ida, I'm a controlling a-hole. I forced my girlfriend to break my dehumidifier after she warned me it would break, and then I blamed her for the damage anyway. I took the locks off the bathroom door and treated her like a toddler who couldn't make her own decisions. Now I'm surprised because she's slowly moving out and doesn't want to put up with my controlling behavior anymore. Ida, in case you couldn't gather it by this point, yeah, YTA, this is extremely controlling and weird. Be honest and admit that this has nothing to do with her health or putting herself in danger. It's entirely about you wanting to control her behavior. Seriously, who takes the lock off the bathroom door? Get a new dehumidifier if you're so worried about the bathroom. Also, it's scientifically proven that women prefer hotter showers than men because women have more constricted blood vessels, which position blood closer to the surface of the skin.